Thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk About It Media 21. I hope you're having a great day. Stay positive, stay focused. Let's get to it. What is the hot topic that's going on YouTube or Instagram? Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news reporting, teaching, scholarships and research. Fair use is use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All comments are alleged, in our opinion, and for entertainment purposes only. Don't forget, the Cash App is Let's Talk About It Media. Thank you for all your love and support.
So don't forget to comment, but be kind, and also turn on the notification bell. Let's listen in on what Jada had to say about divorce separation.
It's like, why don't you just get divorced? And it's like, that's like quitting. I don't think there's any person that could embrace the best and the worst of me and be willing to hold space in the way that Will holds space for me, in the way that I hold space for him. There's no greater mirror I could have than Will. I can't get around myself, just like he can't get around himself with me. Would it be easier to go and find somebody else and have a more pleasing, more comfortable relationship? Maybe. But would that get me to the person that I really want to be? I don't think so.
That's interesting, y'all. Just like I said in the other video, Will's always going to be there. Jada's always going to be there. There is no exclusive relationship with anybody else. They're in the most open situation. They don't want to get a divorce, which is fine. Their relationship, their situation. But understanding, if you deal with Will, there's Jada. If you deal with Jada, there's Will. There is no relationship that's going to ever be exclusive. It's just not going to happen. And I guess for some that should be okay, but can you deal with that?
Actually had to reread it because I said, is this true?
Right.
Was that in 2016, you and Will decided that you were going to live completely separate lives.
Yes.
It was not a divorce on paper,
right,
but it was a divorce. So from the year 2016, which is 7 years ago now,
yes,
y'all have been apart.
Yeah.
But in public, the couple, who married in 1997, denied the gossip about their marriage. This interview on Bravo's Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen was taped a year after Will and Jada separated.
So how long have you guys been together?
23 years.
Wow. That's amazing. How do you keep it hot?
How do I keep it hot? Maybe I don't know. I mean, I'm baffled, really.
Yeah, right.
Over the next several years, Jada and Will kept up the appearance of a committed married couple. They even faced a scandal when Jada had what she called an entanglement with a family friend. Neither let the public know they had already split.
So I guess my question is, I feel like you're a straight talker.
I am.
Except you're not sometimes.
Yeah.
So why do that? Like, what was the reason?
I think just not being ready yet. Still trying to figure out between the two of us how to be in partnership, right? And in regards to how do we present that to people, you know? And we hadn't figured that out.
During our walk in Baltimore, Jada reflected on their breakup.
Why did the relationship fracture?
Oh, why a fracture? That's a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I think by the time we got to 2016, we were just exhausted with trying. I think we were both kind of still stuck in our fantasy of what we thought the other person should be.
Jada says she considered a legal divorce, but could never go through with it.
I made a promise that there will never be a reason for us to get a divorce. We will work through whatever. And I just haven't been able to break that promise.
But you still live separately.
We live separately.
I have some questions.
Well wishes. My goodness. So now we're going to play the clip in regards to people are calling her out in regards to her relationship with Tupac and whether she was the one helping him, guiding him, or whether other people were there.
Jada's lying, and I have the timeline to prove it. Jada is currently on her Pay Attention to Me tour, and she is making all these wild claims, including that Tupac proposed to her while he was at Rikers. Really? The math isn't mathing, so let's take a look. Tupac was convicted of sexual assault charges on February 8th, 1995. From there, he was sent to Rikers Prison, only to be transferred less than a month later to Clinton Correctional Facility. And she specifically said she went to see him. This was not on the phone.
But when I go to see him in Rikers, probably one of the more painful parts, seeing him there, the condition that he was in, and having to leave him there.
Cool. So prior to going into Rikers, Tupac already had a girlfriend named Keisha. He proposed to Keisha, her words, in a September 2011 interview. He proposed to Keisha before he even went into prison. They were already engaged. They got married. Jada's lying, and I have the timeline to prove. In April, and in the time that he got sentenced and was taken to prison, Keisha actually moved closer to be by him and be by the prison and saw him on a near daily basis.
When he asked me to get married, he was at Rikers.
So you're telling me that in the 3 to 4 week window that he was at Rikers, engaged to another woman who had moved closer to the prison and was there almost every day, Tupac proposed to Jada. But hey, Jess, you might be saying to yourself, Tupac wasn't known to be a one-woman man. He was no angel. Fair enough. Let's see where Jada was during February of 1995, which was, as we've already established, the only time she would have been able to see Tupac at Rikers since he was only there for less than a month. See, Jada had already met Will Smith in 1994 on the set of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but Will Smith was married, and so nothing happened between them. But in February of 1995, Will Smith, in April, and in the time that he was served divorce papers by his wife, 5 days later, on February 19th, Will called Jada and said, "Are you single?" And she said, "Yep." Will said, "We're together now." Jada said, "Cool." And she immediately flew to LA. She flew so immediately that when he called her, she was in Maryland at a brand new house she bought. And she never spent a single night in her new house.
Allegedly.
That's how immediately she flew to LA. You know, when, in all that time, did you visit Tupac at Rikers and get this fucking proposal? And for the record, Keisha and Tupac stayed married for about 10 months. They got their marriage annulled about 4 or 5 months after Tupac was released from prison. He was bailed out by Suge Knight. It wasn't long after that he met Kidada Jones. Kidada Jones is the daughter of legendary Quincy Jones. Kidada looks a little recognizable. You may know her sister, Rashida Jones, who played Karen on The Office. Kidada and Tupac was served divorce papers by his Tupac, were living together and engaged when Tupac was shot and killed. Kidada was the one that was there with him at the hospital the night he died. Kidada was handed his bloody clothes. She was the one who told him, "We all love you," before he slipped into a coma and never woke up. Keisha spoke with Tupac several days before he died, because even though their marriage was annulled, they still remained good friends. And I can't help but notice that all of the women who are actually part of his life in a meaningful way are the ones that have just kept quiet. They've kept silent. They've kept their memories to themselves and not tried to use a dead man as their limelight. And the person who's squawking about him the most is making claims that can't even be verified and don't make sense from the perspective of a verifiable timeline.
So many people in that position don't have support.
Right.
None at all.
None. You know?
You got the best.
He did get the best, but Tupac were living together and engaged when Tupac was shot and killed.
Well wishes. We can't confirm or deny. Who knows if she went to go see him? Who knows what that conversation was? Unless she shows a letter, a receipt, we don't know. Well wishes to Jada. Many people are not happy with Jada and her willingness to allege shame. Will.
Want to mess with some dude
that's your son's friend, as trifling as that may seem in people's eyes, that's your damn business. You want to break up with your husband?
This is Stephen A. Smith going off on Jada. And like I said, a lot of people have had a lot to say. I should have I should have told y'all who that was. That was Stephen A. Smith, not happy with Jada, speaking out about her relationship, her entanglement, her separation. Everybody feels she's selling a book and she's embarrassing and humiliating Will. Let's go back to the clip.
Want to mess with some dude that's your son's friend, as trifling as that may seem in people's eyes, that's your damn business. You want to break up with your husband and all of this stuff, that's your business. But this public emasculation needs to stop. Jada, all you're doing is elevating the level of vitriol coming your way. Because it don't matter what you say. There's nothing you can say to a man to justify what you have done to Will Smith. Every time I see Jada Pinkett Smith talk about Will Smith, I cringe. We kings. We kings. We ain't here to be treated like that. You're queens and you shouldn't be treated like that either. And I get that. Tell me anywhere, biblically, scripture-wise, in any scripture, where it encourages you to publicize your personal business for profit when it negatively affects your spouse. You want to mess with some dude that's your son's friend, is trifling.
Well wishes. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting the channel. Many people have been going off, and have had a lot to say about Jada. I'm going to do Amanda Seales and then I'm done.
You know, at a certain point, you have to say, enough is enough. Ma'am, stop talking. Leave us out of it. Everything I know about this people's relationship, I have learned against my will. I'm so tired of knowing these people's business. I was tired, boss. I was tired. Leave me out of it. Please, enough is enough. You know, at a certain point, you have to say, enough is enough. Ma'am, stop talking.
Well wishes to Jada, to Will. Let me know in the comments how you feel about if Jada really was talking to Tupac. Do they have a prenup? That's why they're not getting divorced. It's up to them. But Will sold a book. I guess he did good. Jada's trying to sell a book. I guess she's trying to do good. And many people are like, leave Tupac out of it. Let him rest in peace. He can't confirm or deny anything she's saying. And it's not like she's on a panel sitting with his exes. They probably won't confirm or deny, nor will they probably even mention what they feel. You know what I'm saying? I think it has a lot to do. And that's the biggest thing, too. Everything that happened with Tupac, who else is going to jail? Who else is going to jail? We're hearing about things being paid off. Who else is going to jail? That's what I want to know. Is she going to say something about that? Or is she going to just talk about the book? Have a great day, everyone. Have a great week.